Hello, everyone. We'll go ahead and give people a few minutes to get settled in. Some people are still trickling in. We'll get going in just a couple minutes. If you are coming to look and learn about the quality continuum rubric for distance education, where we go over substantive and regular interaction, that's what we will be covering today. I did not invite anybody into the shell yet, so.
Matt, I signed up for this training this weekend, so I wasn't on your list, but I just saw you pull up.
Then I'm going to have to ask you to leave, Amanda. No, I'm kidding. I'll go ahead and add you to the class.
Thanks.
What is is it just amanda.tumblin?
Yes, Amanda.Tumblin.
Same thing for me.
And who's me? Teresa, is that you?
Bonnie
Me
Hammond.
too, but that was Bonnie. So yeah, I just signed up today. Thanks.
Bonnie Hammond.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll fall so does everybody know about the new ACC weight requirement for teaching online? Well, since you're here, we're gonna be talking about that. But basically it's a way that we can think about how we can create really high quality interactions online. We know that in online classes, sometimes success is not as high as face-to-face classes, but actually courses that are well designed and taught by qualified instructors who really know how to keep it online, they're separating them out. So there's really powerful opportunities in online courses to create meaningful interactions with our students, and the rubric, while it helps us to do the law, also helps us to better. Okay, so we'll also be giving access to the Canvas course, and basically this will just walk you through the rubric. Matt's going to do a little introduction.
Let me just add one more person and then I'll be happy to do it.
We should get it.
It should be an email, or if you guys, we are inviting you into this Canvas shell. So if you go to your Canvas dashboard, up on the very top of your dashboard, you'll have a little banner that says you have been invited into Understanding Accreditation RSI Standards. Nothing yet? Try refreshing the page. Oh, yes. Thank you. Sarah doesn't have to take, she's actually going to step in for me and take over. Mm-hmm.
First one to 100.
So that means Alex has 10 points, Sarah has 10 points. Are you keeping track of all these people we need to reach back?
Yeah, Sarah.
I meant from the previous session.
Oh, I thought I was.
You always get 10 points. Yeah. Okay, let me try again, Dyson. Okay, Becky, I just resent you the invitation. Let me know if you got that one. Cool. Okay. So what you are looking at is a Canvas course that goes over the quality continuum rubric for distance education from the ACC-JC. They are the accrediting body that will be coming to campus to do our accreditation. And just to let you know, they do not let us know which classes they will be looking at. They pick random classes and then use this rubric to look at them for online. And we don't get to know who those people are. So we thought it would be helpful to kind of go over the standards that this rubric brings up. So just to let you know, on this homepage here on the course, if you click on this link here, that's actually going to take you straight to the rubric itself. And this is what that looks like. And basically within each criteria, the nice thing about it is it starts with very minimal sort of alignment. So it starts with initial, and then it just goes up to very highly developed, right? So you can, in each element, you can have an initial status, you have an emerging, developed, highly developed. So nothing we go over today in the rubric is, their standard starts with what immediately aligns. Anything below that or outside of it does not. A couple of things about the rubric itself. First off, it's a resource to support the institutions, right? Additionally, it's used to prompt collegial dialogue between institutions and faculty and among institutions. And as I stated, it also assumes minimal compliance at the initial level and exemplary practice at the highly developed level. And it's also based on the policy on DE and correspondence education, which I have provided a link to. Let me tell you what it is not. This is not a rubric that is intended to evaluate the performance of instructional faculty, right? It's not meant to do that. It's also not meant to be used to determine the level of quality of each course section. And once again, the link to policy on DE and correspondence education from the ACC-JC if you'd like to read more about that. When they come to review, they will be doing it in peer review teams. And I provided a little bit of information about the teams there, including a couple of links you should know about. So once again, the policy on DE and correspondence education. I've also provided the link to Accreditation Standard 2.6. And I've also given you the link to the Accreditation Handbook as a whole. So you guys can look through that when you want to. I know that'll probably be your reading tonight and maybe Saturday, right? Oh, yeah, you already read. There's nothing I like to do more than after a night of drinking. I go home and I cuddle up with the Accreditation Handbook and, oh, it's just wonderful. You know, I'm like, sorry, honey, I'm not putting the kids to bed tonight. I've got Accreditation Handbook to read. Yeah. Okay. before I get into some of this, one thing that we invited you into the shell for is Alex and I created an assignment, and it is called, basically, it's a little bit of reflection. So in a little bit, we're going to spend time going through each of the criteria through the 2 sections of the rubric. And what we'd like you to do is spend some time. It doesn't have to be done by the end of today's workshop. Take the full week if you want to. But we want you to spend a little bit of time and do 2 parts of the assignment. First, think about some elements in your class and take 2 examples from the substantive interaction section and tell us how you align, or if you don't align, how you could correct yourself to align, right, in your course. Part 2 is take 2 examples from the regular interaction section and do the same thing, right? Think about ways in which you align, ways in which you don't. Are you an initial status? Are you a highly developed? Are you an emerging? And if that doesn't make sense now, don't worry, we'll get into that. Yeah, you should all know it. We are done. Have a good weekend. See you later. No. And I also provide direct links to all the different criteria right here on the assignment page. Okay. So that's, you can access that by going straight to assignments in the class. And actually, let me do this. Not that one. Okay. With that said, as I stated, the rubric is really broken into 2 sections. Now, we're used to like the OEI course design rubric, which has so many different elements. This is actually relatively small in comparison, and there's a lot of freedom in what they state. So let's go ahead and go to substantive interaction. So there are 5 different criteria in the substantive interaction section, and at least 2 of those need to be met, according to the team when they come and do the peer review. Criteria A is all about providing direct instruction, and Alex is going to go over that. Criteria B is about assessment and feedback. Criteria C is about information and responding. Criteria D is about facilitating group discussions. And criteria E is other instructional activities. Now, there's really only 4, because criteria E has, the ACC-JC has not provided anything further about additional instructional activities that meet the rubric. So that's just something that's a placeholder. I don't know if they've stated it. I don't know if they're planning to put something there at some point in time. But currently, there's nothing. There is nothing under criteria E. But just to be aware, because I would hate for down the road for us to come back and, well, they never said anything about criteria. Well, now we can say like, no, you guys just didn't, not you guys, but like they didn't spell it out for us. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go ahead and start with criteria A. Alex.
Basically, you need to meet the substantive and the regular interaction to be able to pass for accreditation, right? And we just need to get 2 out of these criteria to be able to pass. We just need 2 out of the 4 for the first one. So the first option is synchronous engagement. Criteria A can only be met if we're teaching online, like Zoom. Sorry, we're teaching Zoom. So we're only going to be able to get criteria A if we're teaching a Zoom class. If we're not teaching a Zoom class, we can't get criteria. What's going on next one?
Okay, actually, would you talk over here so it's not connected to the system?
So do we need to go into this? Does anybody here teach Zoom sessions? Okay, so I'm going to skip over. Yes, so Chris, exactly right. Asynchronous courses cannot meet criteria A. So that one's automatically out. So that means that we have 2 criteria that we got to get out of 3. So let's go to B.
Oh, and can I point out something
Yeah.
quick? Just so that you know, when you're in the course, if you scroll down under the application block, in these tabs, just notice that we not only state what the rubric states up here, but we also provide examples of what could count for that. It's not prescriptive, it's not the only thing, but there are examples that we provide.
Okay, so for criteria B, basically this one is just looking at, there we go. Can you all see that okay in the back? So this one is looking at feedback. Okay. So if we are using, automated feedback on our assignments, we're not gonna be able to meet this. We
So
can,
much for the AI bot that I was talking about.
well, exactly. But the bigger thing is, if we're using publisher content and we have publisher graded assignments, this will not meet this criteria, right? So if you have quizzes and the publisher is the one that grades the quizzes, or it's automatically graded through the publisher system, you cannot meet this criteria. So you want to make sure that you have some assignment during the semester that you are grading yourself so that you can meet this criteria. You only need to meet the initial. So that's where we're starting. As long as we meet the initial, then you're meeting accreditation standards. You can go all the way up to highly developed, but you definitely need to meet the initial.
How would a reviewer know what kind of feedback we're giving to our students?
They go into a Canvas class
As a student? Or like,
as a
Okay.
teacher.
Yeah, they get full access.
they, oh, so they can see, like, if I've graded assignments, if I've left comments, if I've used a rubric, they can actually.
Yes, exactly. And so this is why it's also really important. They are only going to be looking at the Canvas interactions. They're not going to be looking at interactions outside of Canvas. So if you use Pronto or Discord or something like that, that interaction will not, to my knowledge, show up on the accreditation.
How are we getting
evaluation.
around privacy problems?
I'm sorry, what?
How are we getting around privacy?
It's accreditation. They need to have access to it.
See that, but it's still a problem.
That's a good question for legal.
Yes. That's,
Yeah.
no, yes.
Have they quantified how many assignments they have?
No, and so it's a lot of the indications talk about like reasonable amounts for the amount of time your class is. So I would say, this is like provides, meaningful comments on some. So if you're thinking about ways that you can
Sorry, how could you talk?
consistently, is it only going through here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because it doesn't connect to the system. Yeah.
Okay. Can you all hear okay online now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I would say, if you try to make it like, if you're teaching a 16-week course, if you're having something regularly scheduled in your syllabus where it's really clear that students are going to be getting feedback on that, then that would be reasonable to me. So, maybe sometimes it might be every week, or it might be, every few weeks, depending on the type of assignment.
So you should state something in your syllabus, would that cover?
I would definitely have it in your syllabus outlining when students are going to be getting feedback and what that looks like.
As a matter of fact, I think that's a criteria in regular interaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But basically, as long as you're providing feedback, then you're good. So this could be you're grading the quiz questions. An emerging example might be, you provide annotated feedback and speed grader. So you can go through these different examples. Does anybody off the top of their head have an example that they use or a way that they make sure that they're providing their students regular feedback?
I want to ask a question and an example. So a lot of us I know use the submission comments, right? So if they've submitted an assignment, submission comments, and then you can reassign if it's an assignment. So a lot of times I'll use that and just say, I'll reassign it and just say, fix up what you've missed or do whatever. And it has rubrics and all of that kind of stuff. So, but I was on a couple of like adjuncts and reviewing them online. And when I would go to their submission comments in Canvas, it didn't list them all. I mean, they were just like not there. But then we would go back, they'd go like, well, I know I did it. And then we'd go back into the assignment and then they'd have to scroll through each one. Is that normal? And is it going to keep being that way? Because it's, if the reviewers don't know that that's happening in our system,
So when you were given access to the adjunct courses, do you know what you were provided access under? Were you just
I
like
think,
or an
I thi-
observer or something?
I think it was observer. But it was really hard to observe someone, especially unless they were actually we were meeting together to do it with not having that access. So I don't know if that's normal or not to have that or not have that. But it was just really weird because actually they were logged in as them. And so when I did this, and they were logged in as their own self because it wasn't working for me just having observer access. So, and they went away. We couldn't see them, and they were like, "I know they're there." So it was really weird.
I might reach out to Dan about that one, Teresa, because that doesn't sound like it should be happening. So that might be something like permissions wise that he'll need to ask Canvas about.
Yeah, I agree with Alex. That's actually the first I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, me too.
Also, just to point out, when you come down to the tables, if you're looking for ways to boost up, if you find that you're an initial and maybe you want to be developed or highly developed, there's links here that take you to the Canvas instructor guides that show you different things that you can do, different ways to give feedback. I know that one thing that is inspiring to me is that Alex often gives video feedback or audio feedback in her class. So you do have that option when you're going through your submission comments to go ahead and do that too. And we provide links to that down there.
Yeah, I love now that they allow you to do screen recording, so you can actually say, "This is where you're messing up." It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So I have just a question about like automated versus not automated, because now in like the Canvas assignment comments, you can kind of like store some
Mhm.
comments and like reuse those over and over if you're, and are those considered automated or are they not automated?
That is not considered automated.
Okay.
So basically what it's saying is, what they don't want is they don't want you to use a textbook and just have the textbook basically, like, you're not doing anything, you're not doing any of your grading. The textbook is doing all the grading. That's what they're trying to do.
So like if somebody's using like Turnitin and they have like, stored commentary, like, a run-on sentence, misspelling, and they just have those comments stored and they drag and drop them and place them, that's not automated.
No.
Okay.
No, because
Does it matter if we make comments on an assignment within the submission box or within the assignment itself?
no, as long as we're providing feedback, check, you got it, you're good.
So the auditors will actually look at the assignments within them to see if we were.
Exactly. Think of it as facilitated feedback. It's like our little feedback helper button, but we're still the boss of the feedback. We're the feedback boss. And they're doing what we tell them.
How do rubrics fit into this?
So-
Rubrics are one of the criteria.
Yeah, that actually will kick you into highly developed.
Yes,
To make comments.
Mhm.
Grading, so that would count.
exactly. So here you see if you have detailed rubrics, then you're getting the score. So like for every assignment I have a rubric for my students. So that would be highly developed, even if I don't necessarily go through and provide really detailed feedback on that rubric. I have that rubric, I use it to grade. Check, done, moving on. It's pretty straightforward, right? It feels overwhelming, but it's not.
I love the idea of the video comments, having used it. Do we have to caption?
That's what Sarah was gonna ask. Good job. So what I do at the beginning of the semester is I have a getting to know you survey, which you can find in comments too. Actually, Sarah, I use Sarah's getting to know you survey. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so if you look up getting to know you survey, you can pull it into your class, and in that, I say, I will provide audio or video feedback this semester. Are you okay with that? It says yes or no. And if they check yes, then I don't have to worry about captioning because they're opting into it. But if they check no, then I provide written comments. And so I just keep a mark in my grade book, the notes column. Do you all know about the notes column? I'm gonna show you that. That's another one of those things that's a life changer. But in the notes column, I just keep track of who needs written feedback, and I have that up when I'm grading, so that I keep it straight.
You can also just open that survey and like it has all the questions and you can click like like if you have like yes or no as your answer choices, if you look at the no, it'll actually bring up a list of all the students that said no, and I just have that on my screen while they're doing it.
Nice.
Zero.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Every single survey, write it down, just like.
Wow, wow. I really wish you would have told me that semesters ago, but thank you so much.
And Annabelle is asking, is there a way to verify if the student has viewed the feedback?
Not to my knowledge. Does
No.
anybody know of a way?
And you know what, something's really disturbing, you know how when you get put comments on assignment, which I put times? You should always do just one comment, because otherwise they can not always find the original, because the only one that shows their grade book is the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, it does help to give students guidance on how to find the feedback, because it can be hard for them
Really
to know
hard.
where to find the feedback. Yeah. All right.
I give them, I realized how hard it was, because I was giving them the exact answer and they keep missing it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, so now we're moving on to C. We got B, now let's go on to C. So, for this one, this is titled Providing and Responding to Questions. So for this is where we want to make sure that, again, we're not just basically using textbook materials. So as long as there's something that we're creating that is guiding the students through, then we're good. So it could be like a weekly overview video, or it could be we have announcements. Weekly announcements are a really good way to meet this. If you send out weekly announcements, then you're emerging, you're good. And if you send out you know, if you provide announcements that are more than just reminders, but they dig a little bit deeper into course concepts, then you're getting into highly developed.
And it
If
make-
you're just wanting to make sure that you're meeting that, make sure that you're sending out weekly announcements.
And it also seems to me that based on the earlier commentary, that it would actually have to be done within Canvas, because sometimes people will, download their roster from Banner or whatever and send out an email. But if they're going and still sending announcements in Canvas, but if you're doing something outside of Canvas, then for accreditation purposes, that won't be seen.
Exactly. My understanding is that will be visible, but I'm not entirely sure about that.
Right, because when you email students from within Canvas and Gradebook, the email actually goes to Canvas inbox.
Exactly, yeah. So, but I would, if, just for accreditation, it's easier to just have everything in announcements. So, easy way to make sure you're meeting that one. Any other ideas about?
Yeah, I mean, what about, for example, every single week I have a topic materials page that has a hundred of each topic.
Perfect. Yeah. Check. Good job. 10 points.
So on their month, we set a paper while you're doing the assignments and everything. Every single week and every single topic has an initial page that has links to every single assignment, everything is due, and then a whole bunch of. Right, that's criteria C.
That's
Is that what
what
that
yeah,
was?
so if you have like a weekly overview page, if you have a weekly announcement, those would all be.
So right now, the discussion in the room, for those of you that aren't able to hear, is about providing additional material in your class, such as, a weekly or sending out weekly announcements, having a weekly overview page that provides anything that provides additional information or goes beyond just providing reminders.
Okay, and last one.
Yay,
Yay.
at least for this one.
Yeah, so last one from this one, this is group discussions. So we've been talking about like online classes. I'm sure we all have discussions, regular ways for students to interact with each other. And so for this, if we have a discussion, we're able to meet this criteria, right? So weekly discussions, we can meet this criteria. And the thing that will allow us to go more towards the highly developed is based on how much we're ourselves interacting in the weekly discussions. So if we have a weekly discussion where we just have the prompt and that's it, we don't actually participate in the discussion ourselves, that would be initial. But if you're actively engaging in the discussion and you say, hey, that was a great thought, but try to think about this, or you respond to this person in the discussion, then you're moving towards highly developed. Yes,
So if you're doing criteria B and C, you don't have to do.
no, wait, 2, yeah, just 2, yeah. Yeah, isn't it nice? 100%.
Are just with AI, they're just such a waste of time. Because kids are just copying and AI them, and I'm like, what the heck, don't you know what you would for breakfast?
Yeah, discussions are an art, and like, it's hard to have a really meaningful online discussion. It's not impossible. And they can be really meaningful and, but it does take a lot of playing around with. The thing that we do want to make sure is that we remember that what we're talking about right now is really focused on instructor interaction. So these are like our bare minimums for instructor interaction. There are also Title V regulations for student to student interaction for online courses. So I would be surprised if within the next couple of years, we don't start seeing rubrics about that as well. So we do want to remember that we do need to think about ways that we can have meaningful student to student interaction in online classes too. And that it could be discussions, it could be something else. It could be group projects, it could be, which are also fun to manage. Oh,
I didn't,
yeah,
this one person.
group projects, right?
They're really fun
Yeah.
if you have cross-listed classes.
Yeah, yeah.
I said they're really fun if you have cross-listed classes and students from different sections can interact.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when online interactions between students work, it's really special and
Yeah.
it can be really great because, you know, a lot of times our students that are taking online courses may have kids and they may not be able to get to campus, but they really still want that college experience. They want to be able to connect with their colleagues and their peers. And it's kind of like alt text, you know, there's no science to it. Well, in my opinion, but you play around with it, you see what works, what doesn't work. And
When I read this rubric and I saw the highly developed criteria, I immediately went to this faculty that I had in my master's program. And she would assign, a discussion. And then that was when, she would say, this is when we want your initial post by, and then you need to have so many responding posts by this many days later. Well, let's say that she made it due at midnight, your initial post. You would then wake up the next day after you get your initial post in, and she would have already responded to everybody. And you could see timestamps from like 12 a.m. to like 4 a.m. And she was just in there doing exactly what this says, talking about, posing questions, presenting alternative perspectives, trying to make sure that now don't go off track here with this thing, and it was just really, for me, that was one of the best examples I've ever seen of just, I've never done that myself. I don't set my alarm like, okay, well, I'll stay up till 4 today, but yeah.
but mental health, maybe don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, did you have something?
Yeah, so I was just thinking, does this have to be like weekly discussion boards or something? So if you're someone that doesn't want to do that in your course, could it be like a course questions discussion board or like not, I know you have kind of like a social chat type of discussion board. Would those meet that as long as you're like, students can post questions, you answer them, that kind of thing? Or does it have to be a weekly discussion?
No, there's nothing that says it has to be weekly discussion. That's just like, if that's something that you're doing, an easy way to check the box. But if you have other ways of doing it that you found work for more authentic interactions, then go
Yeah.
forth and prosper.
It's good.
All
to
it-
put it.
Yeah, go forth and prosper.
Yeah, no,
Is that from
authentic
you?
interaction.
Oh, okay, thank you. But there's it just basically, as long as we're providing prompts, questions, or topics to engage students. So technically that could even be through assignments, right? It doesn't even have to necessarily be through a discussion. It could be like, reflections. We could have weekly reflections that we ask students to do. That would be another, or not even weekly, but a reflection after a major assignment. Those would all be ways that we could meet that.
And Christopher online is asking, with regards to group interactions, assignments, does that factor into the instructor dynamics of the rubric? For example, instructors engaged in the student group work while the group assignments are being completed. So you have the ability in Canvas to create assignment groups, right? And then essentially students within the assignment groups get their own little like Canvas site within your course. Now, Christopher, I would assume that, yeah, if you're interacting in your present and that's showing one way in which you are interacting and driving discussion forward. So if you're on their, specific little assignment group page and you're contributing to those discussions, or they can see back and forth where you're provoking and, answering questions and guiding and directing, I would say, yeah, that would probably be a very highly developed version.
Totally. Okay, sweet. So that's it for this one. And you're doing regular?
Sure.
Okay, we have 9 minutes.
Okay. All right, regular is massive, guys. Just embrace yourselves. Here's criteria E, which we said ACC, JC isn't adding anything to, but it's there. Okay, regular interaction has two sections. We just have criteria A, which is all about predictable and regular basis, which we'll get into, and also criteria B, which is monitoring, engaging promptly and proactively. So when it comes to predictable and regular basis, it basically states providing the opportunity for substantive interaction with the students on a predictable and regular basis, commensurate with the length of time and the amount of content, the course of, and competency. So essentially, office hours can count for this too, right? This is where if you say, I am holding office hours every Tuesday and Thursday, they are available from 1 to 3:30 p.m. That counts as maintaining that regular and frequent basis. Right now, it's important that you have that communicated out to your students. So did you post that in your syllabus, right? I mean, just those general practices. If you have a change with it, did you communicate the change? That would probably not be more than initial, but you know, that frequent interaction. And that's pretty straightforward. Let's see what I put as the highly developed. Yeah. Is that better? So in some cases, when it talks about in the highly developed version, right, you want to talk, it's talking about yielding equitable student outcomes. So in some cases, you know, if you hold your office hours, for example, both in person and on Zoom, that might be one example because it's not just, you know, in one location. So if you have students that are unable to make it to campus, or perhaps they live in rural areas, they still have that same frequent, regular, that attention from you that they can count on. Yep.
Like being on this because they don't always have regular office hours or office hours. You know, by appointment only.
Yeah.
That's not required of them, so I don't. Yeah, so it's not required. Yeah, if they're teaching online, then I would say it would definitely just have regular office. So how do you communicate with them? Like, I don't think they can. I didn't imagine here, but keep up places I did, I just thought it was part of our.
And this has been discussed at other things, but we'll also be delivering this to FCDC tomorrow. Yeah. But you're already going to be there, so we could just give this to you now, right? And you could just, yeah, okay. Okay, and criteria B. Monitoring the
I'm sorry, just a quick question. Does something like like say if we regularly send out reminders, this is due, does that count here or not?
I think that falls into that, I think it's criteria B. I'd have to go back, but that would be substantive interaction, I would think. Go ahead.
In your syllabus or your communication somewhere in your Canvas, like, here's how often I'm gonna give you feedback, here's when you can expect it, like, if you outline it that way, that could also be.
Did you hear that, Teresa?
You wouldn't necessarily.
Parts of it.
So she's saying basically if you outline it in your Canvas or in your syllabus, that would, like, when they can expect that contact and how, like, you know, if you send me an email, I will respond to you within 24 hours.
Yeah, so that would all.
Okay, B. Monitoring the student's academic engagement and success and ensuring that an instructor is responsible for promptly and proactively engaging in substantive interaction with the student when needed on the basis of such monitoring or upon request by the student. So notice that the initial, it talks about very minimal interaction, frequency of postings, feedback, right? So as I was stated earlier, it's not a very high bar, right? Throughout the term, the course section or the individual students based on monitoring students. So let's see what I put down here for initial. So this is something where maybe you've sent out a handful of announcements in your class to make it a little more tangible. Maybe you just send them out, you know, before midterms, before some tests, before finals, right? That would probably meet the initial thing here. Whenever we're talking about going above and beyond, that's usually going to kick you up the rubric to probably developed or highly developed. Yeah.
Reminders.
Did you hear that, Teresa? Alex said this is where reminders could come into play.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So I always think of the, regular as sort of like the baseline of interaction that should be, present in all. Let me see if there's anything to.
So you need to have both of these. Yeah, you need to have both.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure, how detailed the feedback we're gonna be getting from ACCJC. So I don't know if they're gonna be, I wouldn't expect them to be getting individualized feedback, so that would just make a difference of if it's between initial and more developed, which I'm not sure that we're gonna be getting that level of feedback. So Chris, I don't know the answer to your question, but I don't know that we need to know.
So on the first criteria, that you said that as an institution, were they going to be looking at two? Do we get to decide, like, as an institution, these are the two they're looking at, or can they choose between whichever ones they want? How does that work?
Yeah,
And
they're going to choose a handful of classes, none of which we will know, 50. They're going to choose 50. And then from fall, and then from that point, they're then going to use those courses against the rubric. So some of the courses may meet, A and B, whereas others meet B and C, or, so. Yeah, we don't as an institution get to choose which two they focus on.
but and that's fall of 25.
24.
Oh, so these would have already have happened.
25. What was Christy talking about with? Got it. Okay.
So then they can only choose Zoom classes if they're going to choose A.
So Teresa, they're gonna look at it, and as long as you get 2 out of those 4, then you pass.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
they're going to be looking at all the areas. It's just that they're gonna
Yeah. They
only.
randomly pull 50 classes from fall of 2024, and if we don't pass, then they're gonna redo it again for spring of 2025. So this is why we're here, because they want us to tell everybody just in case we fail fall, so that we can make sure that we're meeting it for spring.
And I believe it was Mount Sac that did fail.
Interesting. So when are they going through these? Will we know, like, how we do, and do they, like, if 30 courses pass, do they just pick 20, or?
I don't know when they're, Sandra, do you know when they're going through? Or when we know that the,
This is new. so-
yeah, right, we don't know, we don't know. Just make sure your spring classes are good. Just in case, it's always good to have a bird in hand.
Almost.
Did you have any? And then we see a question about frequent starfish requests. Ooh, so I would say, Lisa, that's a very good question. That would be a great example of meeting that. I don't know if they're gonna be looking at starfish.
We can ask that question though, Lisa.
Yeah, we'll ask that question and share our information. But if you're sending reminders through Canvas, like message students who haven't submitted, that would show up. For sure.
Like through the grade book.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. I don't want to hold everybody late, so any last questions before we wrap up? Wait,
I
don't we go
guess
into-
I guess I just want to reconfirm. So for us to not fail, all we need to do is meet the initial.
Yep, the initial is the bare minimum that needs to be met. If you meet initial, then you are aligned to the rubric. That answer your question, Teresa?
Yeah, thank you guys. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
All right, so that concludes the tour of the rubric. Just remember, if you would like to contribute to the assignment and just sort of post, it's you can write it as a document, you can upload it. There's also the text entry feature. So it's really up to you. But if you'd like to start thinking about your class and, you know, some strengths and weaknesses you may have, that's what the assignment is for. So thank you all for attending today.
Hey, Matt, how long will we have access to this shell?
I will not be taking it away anytime in the near future.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions or, do you feel confident about this?
This assignment then, where you just.
Yeah, well, what you want to do is like, you know, so take like from substantive interaction A, B, C, and D. Choose 2 of those criteria and then talk about how your course, like, do you align with, yeah, do you want to, are you initial, emerging, developed, highly developed? Well, thanks, Christopher. Appreciate it. Thanks, Karen. I like it a lot. I mean, in terms of the length of it, I'm like, oh, it's so much more comfortable than some of the other rubrics we've been
Yeah.
looking at. Yeah.
It's not very, like why they have that initial to. Oh, isn't that much different? No, yeah, that's true.
There were some cases when I was spelling out the examples, I was like, I feel like this could work for either. Yeah.
Like we don't have to meet initial. Exactly. How scary that. And that's, you know, for Mount Staff. Wow, that their distance and is supported. That's crazy. Especially when you want to get like, it's not hard. And so the they like take this. And then, you know, in my perfect world, thinking that everybody's interacting with their students. Yeah, I don't know what these. I might think everyone.
I was gonna say, based on what we've seen office hours, I really hope there's some that they don't look at.
I think the president knows, like, soon, people are giving classes like right before the semester started, when that was my time, you know. That should not happen. It should not, yeah. There's so much to know. Yeah, I mean, if you've taught somewhere else, it's pretty quick, because you've been interested in from the previous campus.
Right.
Always save all your campus courses.
Yeah, but if you're teaching personally.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of beforehand, online, but.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Bye, everybody.